So we're up. Welcome to the Anarchy Unleashed podcast. And I'm joined today with a very special friend, Vincent Gwynn.
Hello.
And Vincent is an original Anarchy Actors member. So, Vincent, when did you join Anarchy Actors?
I joined back in, was it 2019 when you started it? Yeah, I think it was 2019, but it was a couple of months in. So I think it might have been like the middle of the year or something like that. Yeah. I don't even remember where I heard about it. I think on a Facebook group, someone might have posted it, and then I'm like, this sounds cool. It's affordable. I can actually afford to go. Yeah, joined and loved being part of it ever since.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. I do remember. I remember the session as well, I think, because I was doing taster sessions.
Yes.
I was only running it on a Saturday for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was doing taster sessions for new people on a Friday night. And you were part of a group that was there on one of those Friday nights. And I remember that. Distinctly remember.
I forgot which script we did back then.
I think it must have been, you see, for anyone who doesn't know, Anarchy, I started Anarchy Actors Studio to be robustly defined as a screen acting studio, not a theater studio, not a general acting studio. So I wanted to create something that I would have liked because I used to be an actor. And I thought after years of experience in working as a director, an actor, director, writer, all of that stuff, I thought the best training for an actor would be to go down the genre route. So my thought behind Anarchy was to do genre-based training, meaning every month we would do a different genre. I think, in answer to your question, that genre, I think it was the horror genre that we did that night.
What it was. Yeah.
Crazy time. That was 2019.
Yeah, before the plague, before the world changed, I'd say, because it changed quite a lot. I think not even just like on a world scale, but like for all of us.
Yeah. It's certainly been a challenge. It's I'm sure for actors, I'm sure it's been a challenge as well, right? Maybe you can speak to that.
I mean, interestingly enough, for me, the first month of the pandemic is exactly when I had signed with my first agent.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it was like before that. But back then, I still got quite a good amount of really interesting self-tapes. Yeah. It's kind of like died down by now, but I'm also focusing a bit more on the creation side rather than just acting. So.
Yeah, so like to give it a bit of info, what's your background?
Yeah, so I'm going to recap my background before acting. So I started acting as a hobby back when I was in the game industry. So I worked in story, particularly on Final Fantasy XIV, which is one of the games with the most awards for literally every category you can think of. And it was story that always made me stay there and that always got me interested. And my issue with the work I did in the game industry is that I stayed in an entry-level position for years, even though I tried really hard to like climb and make some progress in my career, and none of it really clicked. So I tried to like, experiment with the different disciplines back in games that I could see myself doing. And acting was one of them, because obviously you have loads of actors coming in to like record lines and do stuff like that for video games. So I took acting classes, and that's the thing that really got me, like, it really felt like my way, because there were so many things I tried, like music, writing specifically for games, and writing is something that I'm still keeping on. I left the game industry now, but yeah, now I'm more of an actor-writer. I've also gone to film uni since, graduated from Ravensbourne last year, and my screenplay, Brighter Views, which is a drama with a little bit of a sci-fi element in it, got me a placement on a fellowship with Sony Pictures, which, yeah, I've just wrapped up recently. Yeah, and now I'm like in talks with agents and executives to hopefully get it picked up by someone and make it happen.
Do you know what? I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of, because of, I think what I tried to do with Anarchy is to show that there is a way to just try and get on with being who you want to be creatively, and to have that business brain and not just, it sounds rude, not just the actor brain, if that makes any sense at all. Because it's about time that creative people, whether they're actors or, because directors and producers and screenwriters have the same problem. Like creative people, we always seem to be waiting on someone else to give us that shot, and it's not going to come.
Yeah,
It's not going to come. I'm not to be. I'm not. It's not in a negative sense. If you're just waiting for that shot, it's not going to come because everyone's waiting for it. So you have to try and come undeniable, like people say.
Exactly.
I think, and this is the first time I'm hearing this, by the way, like this screenplay situation. None of it surprises me, and I'm very proud of that. And you should be on those things. You should be you should keep hustling, and you have, and that's exactly why I started Anarchy Actors, and exactly why I probably want to continue to like show the way to other new artists. Now, new doesn't mean young, or new just means new. That makes sense.
Some fresh perspectives, some people who want to
That's
get
what
into
that's
it.
what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is,
So
because
that's something the UK especially could do a lot more with when it comes to producing media.
Yeah.
Stuff.
With Anarchy, what I wanted to do was to show that there's a different way to do things.
Yeah.
Because I learned pretty quickly that if I wanted to do the jobs on the work I wanted to do, then I really had to try and create it myself. Now, I don't come from a wealthy background at all, working class background. I don't even come from an artsy background, so it's not as if we were like a working class family and my aunt happened to work in London or whatever, that kind of situation. Yeah, those stories. So, like, how do I get to do the work that inspired me? Like, I don't know, Daniel Day-Lewis, or I don't know, people like that. The real kind of get your teeth into kind of roles. Yeah. I learned pretty quickly that those roles don't just happen.
Mm-hmm. They don't.
And how do you make them happen then? And the only way I could try and do it was to just try and create it. So I produced theater. I wrote things. I produced things. I did theater, photography. Like, my background was insane, and then suddenly I landed on, I actually am a filmmaker, a writer, director, and how do I keep developing my craft? And that's another reason why I started Anarchy. I give myself the task in Anarchy of writing basically a new script every month,
which was so much fun to do as an actor. Like, it was so cool because every month we did do a different genre, and I don't get how you got us like not just like 2 pages for every actor to do the same thing. No, there was like quite a lot of variety for us to work with. So people got different scenes from a different genre every month. So you might have like 5, 6 different.
Yeah, let me just explain. So, like, just again, for example, the first month was horror. So I gave myself the task we had a showcase once a month, and instead of just giving a existing script, which is fine, it's a thing. Yeah, of course, you learn a lot from existing scripts. I thought for the showcase, I would just write something original for the actors to perform, like completely 100% original. So I gave myself the task of, I got the idea. Okay, what's the idea for the script? All right, so that's the overall idea. So I gave myself the task of writing 10 scenes as if they were plucked from a feature-length script or a TV script, which also for me helped me develop the actual overall arc of the story. But I was writing 10 original scenes a month from a different genre. Like, we're talking about horror, we're talking about comedy, we're talking about genres that I would never ever think of even trying to have a go at. Because
did you rom-com at some point?
Yeah. There's a rom-com there, but it's a kind of, I call it a goth rom-com. That's really cool.
Why not? Always bring fresh perspectives.
Yeah. Superhero. Remember we did the superhero?
I enjoyed that one. Yeah,
it was really, it's, for me as a writer, as a filmmaker too, it's just, it was a joy and great for my craft too. And I think as an actor, I put myself in the actor's shoes. I'm thinking, how cool is it? How cool I think it was just to do something new, like completely, like develop a character and to do something new. And that was, I think, it brought in the variety. And I think there's some genres that people don't necessarily connect with, but I think, because I would do the same, I wouldn't like every genre. I wouldn't like, but I think you were gonna find something. I tried to, like, push it in a way and pick scripts and scenes and stuff that really, like, people find something in, and also the whole premise of it is we would do exercises as well.
Yep.
So we would do improv exercises around the particular existing script and existing theme,
which was also in front of camera.
Yeah, it was all in front of camera. Yeah, it was all in front of camera because and the exercises were pertinent to the genre. So if I just love horror, but if we were doing horror, we'd be doing horror type improvs.
Yeah,
just to get us in that mindset of the genre. Because my whole theory is that as an actor, there are different techniques depending on genre, and for film, I think, and if we can discover no matter how slight or how vast it is, those shortcuts just to get into the mindset of the genre, then you're a better actor for it. That's my theory.
Yeah,
because I find myself struggling a lot as an actor. Just what the hell am I? Like, I'm auditioning for a horror film, but I'm acting like I'm auditioning for like a prison drama.
Yeah, and then they'll look at it and go like, "What is that? That's not what we sent out a brief for."
Yeah,
essentially.
So what were your initial thoughts, though, like honest thoughts about the technique? And
so for me, I think I have to talk a bit more about what acting was before
Yeah.
I went to Anarchy. Mostly it was like, so the most recent thing I'd done before joining Anarchy was a Meisner workshop, which I value. There's so much great stuff people can pick up from Meisner if you've not acted before. Mainly like being connected with who you're working with and like just having your heart and soul in the moment. What Anarchy did different for me was that, first of all, the stories we did, I found so much more interesting to get into. But the main thing is that it was in front of a camera as well, which asked you to be more intimate. It didn't ask you to perform for the people sitting on chairs in a room. It asked you to open up yourself in a way that the lens can pick it up. And that means just letting go of like all the weird things you've trained to do and just being. And that was the main thing that I took away from it as well. Because you mentioned early on already I don't know if it was like a lesson or something, but it stuck with me that to just relax. Because there was always this sense of like, okay, I'm prepared and like I'm ready, and it's like the camera picks that up, and suddenly you're not the character anymore. You're suddenly like a prepared actor on a stage being filmed on camera, which isn't what the scene is about.
It isn't what it just it's the energy. I used to be so intense about my work, and I struggled. I was working too hard when I got the TV jobs that I was doing, and it wasn't worth that struggle.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying the jobs weren't. I appreciate them, but I've learned from myself that just first off, relax. Doesn't matter what role it is. If it's a really intense role or physical role, but you still have to internally relax, because it's not practical to be in that physical state day after day.
Yeah.
If you've got a lead role, you'd be done. You'd be done. I mean, you'd be dead by the end of it, And so I think that's why people get the whole method acting thing wrong as well. Maybe it's not what people think it is. It's not like living the character. I tried it.
Yeah.
No.
So many people have a different idea of what method acting is anyway. I think, yeah, as long as you're connecting to the story, connecting to the actors, and you're in the same room with everyone who's like working to create something cool with you, you're on the right path.
I think so. I think it's moment by moment, particularly film acting.
Yeah.
It's moment by moment. I mean, that's why some of the best performances you'll probably see on camera are from non-actors in their first role.
Yeah.
Some of it, that's why like these people just become like stars and everyone's saying, oh, they're amazing, and they are in that. But what is that? they're not limited by their technique. They're not overthinking it. They're just being, and they're allowing the director to lead them in that. Now, you have to have everything going right, though. The director has to be the type of director that can relax people and to get a certain performance out of it. Yes, of course. But there's something about that naivete, I suppose, where when you know too much, you start overthinking and you're not being genuine.
Yeah, it's really funny actually, because so this is more filmmaking instead of acting, but I got to talk to Ash Atala, who made The Office, and he said when they shot it, they did not know what they were doing, and at one point they just filmed a photocopier for way too long. Like, they wasted hours of a day. But also, if they knew what they were doing, The Office would not have been what it was. So sometimes you just have to go for it.
Sometimes you have to just do it.
Yeah, you do.
If there was one lesson you could take away from Anarchy, I suppose, your experience with Anarchy into your career, what would it be?
It's distilling it to one. So where I'm at now is that I've stopped relying on the industry to give me a chance, because I've found that it's a ton of work. You're working every waking minute of the day to prove yourself to someone who might not even look at you, even if you're sending them a tape. And I'm like, this is so much effort you're putting into something that gets wasted. So now I'm more happy with not just happy, I'm more excited about, that brings us to the point again, doing stuff without even having to prove it to someone, just like expressing ourselves through art. And film is such a fantastic way to do it. I'm so much more excited about film now than stage currently. Even though I've done stage, I love stage, but film is where really my calling is. And you have to get your people together who you love working with and just, I guess, trust it. Don't look for validation outside. Just enjoy the process and make something cool out of it.
That's exactly right. And to go on that point is, it's not like you don't want to make money either.
Yeah, that is true. That's the other harsh reality.
Yeah, you have to. Like, it's not as if we're both sitting here like, I'm just doing a podcast for fun because I've already made my money and done. Because money is important. Money's important, and people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And people need to get paid properly as well for their work. It doesn't have to be like extortionate, but people need to get paid properly, and that's another thing for another time. But it all has to come from the right people, creative people. If you can, the perfect situation is that you can get people together. Someone has a business head, and someone else is very good with investment, and someone else is very good with production, and someone else. And you can be all of those things, but that kind of thing. It's practically just getting out and doing it. But also, I will end with this. It's, look what we're doing. There's a phone there. There's a phone there. It's a laptop. It's a room that wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
We're just doing it, and there's a way to survive financially as well as art creatively, and it's up to us to realize that actually can happen. Just gotta just strategically and think strategically.
And just to loop back at it as well, the fact that we're doing this on our own, again, independent, means you don't have to wait on someone to give you the opportunity. And I think that's also the wrong way to go about it, because carve it out yourself.
Right. Well, I'll end on I'll end on this. So, like, my film, it's currently out, LIBERTÉ, which Vincent actually worked on the original workshop of the script back in the day. That is crazy. And I'll probably pop up a clip as well of it.
I had no idea what I was doing back then.
I'll just, don't worry, I'll not put up a whole scene. I'll just pop up. It'll be a little clip of Vincent looking very serious, probably. But that was workshopped in the studio then, and we shot the short film the year after during the pandemic. And on that point, my co-producer Sam, he wrote it and is in it, starring in it brilliantly. We just decided to just go and make the thing, and we had a plan to, if all else failed, to just release it as well. We weren't trying to rely on anyone. We had a strategic plan. Okay, how do we get it out? If nothing else happens with it, we've made it, how do we get it out? And from top to bottom. And I think because of that attitude, that mindset, it's kind of went full circle where we ended up getting a broadcast deal. because we were acting like adults.
Mhm.
We weren't desperate. We're all, in a way, we're all desperate to just work, right? But we weren't. We were just acting like adults. We're going to do it anyway. And if you build it, they will come. That's
Exactly.
that's the Kevin Costner thing,
Mhm.
movie. We just did it, and we got a lot of press, and a lot of things happened because we just went out and took a shot and did it ourselves. And we had a plan. If you have a plan, you have a plan. Also, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to cost anything but your heartache and your head sometimes, and your sanity and your time. But to just do it, and you continue to do it, because there are people like me and Vincent, and I've no doubt that Vincent will be successful. And when you are, you're not going to be looking for what's in the mainstream. You're not going to be. If you want to help someone, you're going to. Who's that person that did it like me?
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I wrote a whole dissertation on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've met a lot of successful business people now in my life, and they all have one thing in common. They don't listen to the noise. They don't listen to trend. They don't look at trend. They don't look at noise. They look at it in a certain way, but then these people want to find someone who's not within the noise, if that makes sense. And it's a hard road. It's because both of us actually have been doing some form of creativity, at least for a long time. And it's only now that we're both we're getting that momentum, but we never. Many times, I'm sure you wanted to quit, and I wanted to quit, and
gosh, yeah. Like, and it's not even back in the days I wanted to quit. It's like it comes up constantly.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Daily, sometimes.
Like, you need to make the money, and then you need to like find the energy to.
But there's always. I think you know what. One thing I've learned is forward motion, positive motion. No matter how hard it is, no matter how much you don't want to do it, and you would just want to quit, something always randomly comes up. Something comes up. It just comes up. You just got to get out there and just, I don't know. I'm not spiritual in that way. I don't believe in any of that stuff. But what I do believe in is positive focus and motion. It always leads somewhere.
It does. And
You're
never stuck in the same place.
Yeah. This has been incredible, I think.
Yeah.
It's been really
great.
nice.
Yeah.
Really nice, Vince. I'll have you back again.
Please do, yeah.
Thank you very much. So this is Vincent Gwynn. Give him your socials if you.
My socials are Vin Gwyn, VINGWYN. I just have Instagram. My website, vincentgwyn.com. And yeah, I guess you can find stuff about me when you Google. Yeah, that's me.
Yes, and this is the Anarchy Unleashed podcast. Don't forget, follow us on anarchyinc.studio, my company. Follow us on Anarchy Actors, Instagram, Facebook, anarchyactors.com, anarchyinc.studio, and my name now too, christopherhanvey.com. It's about me. It's about me as a filmmaker. And subscribe, like, share, subscribe. Do what you have to do. Thank you very much, Vince.
Thank you for having me.
I keep on calling him Vince, like he's Italian. Hope you don't mind.
Works either way.